My name is Jason, and this is Just Watches. Okay, today we have a really awesome Citizen Promaster that was lent in by a friend of the channel. However, before we get to that review, if you're enjoying the contents of this channel, I invite you to subscribe. And if you're enjoying the contents of this individual video, please give it a thumbs up. Thanks so much. Okay, for price and availability, as of the recording of this video, this watch is available from a number of retailers for between $400 and $500. The MSRP is $575. So for the case, we have 39 millimeters in diameter, 45 millimeters lug to lug, but the end links do extend past the case itself, making the true lug to lug around 49.5 millimeters. The watch is 11.5 millimeters thick, but around a half a millimeter of that is this domed sapphire crystal. And finally, the watch has a 20 millimeter lug width opening. Now this case and bracelet is all titanium, so it is very light and has that slightly darker hue of titanium. It's also completely brushed with a fairly simple design with lugs that curve down and aggressive crown guards that envelop the crown. The only high polish elements are the base of the bezel and the pusher at 4 and then the logo on the signed crown. Now this case has been treated with Citizen's Duratech coating and it works wonderfully. This watch has been worn extensively, but it looks almost brand new. And then thanks to that short lug to lug and the slight curve in the lugs, it wears extremely snug and flush to the wrist. The solid end link bracelet starts at 20 millimeters and tapers down to 18 before jumping back up to 20 millimeters at the clasp. The articulation against the back of the watch is excellent and between the links is decent. The 3-link style is fully brushed with the outer links rounded off and the inner links squared off. The Citizen clasp here is fantastic. It has a safety catch signed with Citizen and then a double push to point that when opened reveals a fully milled scissor. And then if you look closely, there's a 3-position on the fly micro adjust that they were able to integrate without making the clasp too large. In fact, this clasp reminds me a lot of the standard Seiko clasp, except way better, and really makes me question why Seiko doesn't have a clasp like this. Anyways, sizing is accomplished with the dreaded pin and collar system, but if you need help with that, I have an extensive video that I can link to now. Overall, this is a very comfortable bracelet that benefits greatly from that on-the-fly micro adjust. Now, the case back here is a press-in style, which is a bit odd because this watch has 200 meters of water resistance, and usually I see screw-down case backs used at that level of water resistance. However, as this is a major watch brand, I trust that this watch does indeed have that water resistance. Now there's a ton of information on this case back and a really nice engraving against the satin finish of the Globe, Citizen, Promaster, and Echo drive. Now this watch is powered by an H100 movement. Now unfortunately, this watch is designed to work in Japan, so it won't radio sync in the USA, but you still get the perpetual calendar, an anti-magnetic movement, it's solar powered, and then that capacitor will likely last 10 plus years before needing a change. Also, you can use an app to radio sync the watch if desired, but it's also possible just to manually set the time. Another nice feature is that you can jump the hour forward or backwards without stopping the watch. Honestly, quartz is already convenient, but once you've had a perpetual calendar which correctly adjusts for the days of the month, it's just on another level of convenience and you can just pick this watch up and know it'll always be ready. The 5.5 millimeter screw down crown is nicely knurled and signed with a high polished logo against a satin background. The crown guards do make it a bit tricky to access, but the threading and unthreading action is smooth. Now the functions on this watch are not super straightforward since it is meant to radio sync, but I can put a link to the manual in the description and you can figure out how to do all the functionality you need manually, or you can find an app that will then radio sync the watch for you. The domed sapphire crystal is a bit proud of the bezel and it is treated with an anti-reflective coating. Despite that coating, the crystal does tend to catch reflections, which can be a bit annoying and is a bit of a distraction on this otherwise very easy to read watch. For the dial, we start with the green chapter ring that nicely matches the dial color and has a ton of information for the more advanced functions of this watch. It also has a half railroad track marking out the individual minutes. Now moving in, we have the dial itself, which is green, but can also actually appear black depending on the light. We have a large triangle at 12, day and date window at 3, and then dashes at 6 and 9. The rest of the hours are represented with Arabic numerals, and all the indices are loomed and slightly 3-dimensional, making them really pop off the dial. We have a ton of text with Citizen and Echo drive at 12, the Citizen logo, radio control, water resist rating, and titanium at 6. I could live with a bit less text, but honestly, I don't notice it that much. And I didn't think I would like the green dial, but it's actually a really lovely shade, and the way it kind of fades to black in certain lights is really interesting. And then it's just very legible, and then because this is a Japanese model, I love that the date of the week is the Japanese or English version on this watch. The hour and minute hand of this watch are edged in white and filled with lume. The hour hand is thicker than the minute hand, and while the hour hand is a great size, the minute hand falls a bit short of the edge of the dial and feels a bit small for the watch overall. The seconds hand has a really ornate counterbalance that I've seen on a few Citizen watches, and I really like it. The second hand alignment on this watch is very good. The hands definitely pop nicely against this dial, and this watch is extremely easy to read. I just wish that minute hand was a touch longer. The lume on this watch is decent. It's not nuclear like you get with some Seiko watches, but it's solid and I have used it through the night, so it definitely gets a passing grade. So here's the watch on my 6 3/4 inch wrist. It's a great fit and really hugs the wrist. Despite the end links increasing that true lug to lug, it wears really well. And then I'm just a huge fan of titanium watches. They're just so light, which makes them incredibly comfortable to wear throughout the day. So pros and cons, starting with the pros. Like I said, whenever you can get a titanium watch with a titanium bracelet, it's just so comfortable. And then this Duratec coating is phenomenal. This watch looks brand new. There's not a mark on it, and I know it's been worn extensively. Second, that perpetual solar movement is so awesome. If you haven't had a perpetual movement, it's just so nice. Quartz is already very, very convenient, but when you pick it up and it's a month later and it's adjusted the day and the date to be correct, it's a whole nother level of convenience. Finally, that quick adjust bracelet is so well integrated. It only gives you 3 positions, but that's really all you need on an on-the-fly adjustment, I find. And it just makes me so mad that Citizen has a clasp like this that's very similar to the Seiko clasp, but Seiko generally never puts in that quick adjust, and I really don't understand why. As for cons, the crystal is quite reflective. They did use anti-reflective coating, and when you're looking dead on the crystal, it's pretty invisible, but that dome for some reason just catches a lot of reflections. I kind of wish they just used a flat crystal here. Second, those crown guards really do envelop the crown. Now, because this is a solar powered perpetual movement, you're very rarely going to have to adjust it, so I give it a pass here, but it can be a little tricky to get a grasp on that crown between those crown guards. And then finally, that minute hand, I just wish it was a touch longer. It just looks a little small, doesn't quite reach the end of that dial, which is a pet peeve of mine, but it's a minor nitpick, but that is something that I would love to have seen changed. As for comparables, for more you can check out the Astron line from Seiko. I have a review of a Radio Sync watch on the channel you can check out. For about the same price, I would consider the Casio Oceanus, which is solar and radio controlled and should sync in the USA, so you get that full functionality. And then for a lot less, if you just want a radio syncing watch, they're actually not expensive. For $30 to $40, you can get one from Casio and just have that convenience of the watch's time getting updated overnight every day. So there you have it, the Citizen Promaster PMD56-295. What do you think about this watch? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, if you're enjoying the contents of this channel, I invite you to subscribe. And if you like the contents of this individual video, please give it a thumbs up. That's all for this time. My name is Jason, and you have been watching Just Watches.